Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaRakah the most the elder apostles, great millstone, rule well, and Shalom to a prophets doing the work, sincerity and truth. Um, yeah, got this article on the Washington Post, where it's talking about, the Pentagon priming troops to go into Minnesota, because it's basically become the hotbed, the focus of the domestic, the local, the homeland efforts of basically establishing that police state. And that's really all this thing is about. And it's become clear because, as soon as that chick got wigged, it's then like, and the guy kind of got not even like a slap on the wrist, it was being justified and made like, yeah, that's cool. That's just what it is, as far as is how they're kind of dealing with it. Then you kind of know from there. Then you kind of know from there that it's not about just doing deportations, because they said, it's like the stats came out like Obeezy did more deportations with like less of what they're not even being like an iron fist, with less force utilized um than Trump's done. So that whole being about deportations, that's clearly not the end goal of putting together this this police force. So I read, it says Pentagon readies 1,500 troops to deploy soldiers to possibly deploy to Minnesota, officials say. So it says the Pentagon has ordered about 1,500 active duty soldiers to prepare for a possible deployment to Minnesota, defense officials told the Washington Post last Saturday, after President Donald Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in response to unrest there. The soldiers are assigned to 2 infantry battalions with the Army's 11th Airborne Division, which is based in Alaska and specializes in cold weather operations. The Army placed the units are unprepared to deploy orders in case violence in Minnesota escalates, officials said, characterizing the move as prudent planning. Yeah, and that's the thing, is the thing being established with, these ICE troops maneuvering as they are, is the utilization of military force, of military engagements. That's the key thing that's being normalized, is bringing in you know a militarized police force, and having the actual military involved. Because the start of the use of military force with Trump coming in was for what he said was local crime waves, violence, these things, crimes being stopped, and then getting a handle on those things in America, locally. But then afterwards, you had ICE brought in, and they were given expanded heavily, and then given the ability to kind of go in, grab people up. Their powers are expanded, and then the part you had as well, then with their powers being expanded, people resisting, trying to stop them taking people away, etc. And then the power's been expanded again to where it's like, oh, if you're trying to stop them, trying to slow them down, trying to resist what they're doing, they can, to the extent of having that woman get blown away. So it says it's not clear whether any of them will be sent to the state, the official said, speaking like some others on the condition. Speaking like some others on the condition of anonymity to discuss sensitive military planning. The White House said in a statement that it's typical for the Pentagon to be prepared for any decision the president may or may not make. Sean Parnell, a spokesman for the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, said in a statement Sunday that the Pentagon is always prepared to execute the orders of the commander-in-chief if called upon. Two officials said that the orders are unrelated to Trump's recent rhetoric about the United States needing to take control of Greenland. Then again, it's like with um, Venezuela, no one heard, there wasn't much, if any, discussion coming out about operations going on in there until, you're hearing about this guy being traveled, this guy, blindfolded and tied up and uncapping a bottle of water as he's being flown to New York to stand in court till what's his name, Maduro's being flown to New York he's been extracted like it's a fucking Call of Duty mission. He's been extracted from fucking Venezuela, and his ass is in New York, answering to thingy to the Trump's government, basically destroyed. Says that the deployment was reported earlier by ABC News. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey on Sunday called the federal government's surge of immigration enforcement officials and the possible deployment of active duty soldiers an attempt to bait protesters in the city. We're not going to give them an excuse to do the thing clearly they've been trying to set up to do now, which is these 1,500 troops. Frey told CNN, "I never thought in a million years that we'd be invaded by our own federal government." But, well, that's been the end goal. The Insurrection Act, a federal law dating to 1807, permits the president to take control of a state's National Guard forces or deploy active duty troops domestically in response to a rebellion. Invoking the act, that would be an extraordinary move. Invoking the act would be an extraordinary move and mark the first time a commander-in-chief has done so since President George H.W. Bush, so Daddy Bush, called on the military during the LA riots of 1992. So yeah, it's basically expanded to where now that's the thing it's really a matter of when. As soon as enough of a bone is thrown out, they're then going to be justified. Okay, bring that military bang, slam. They're going to bring it in, and that's really what they're looking to do. It's similar with over here, where you had protesters escalating. Because okay, police power's going to escalate too. They jumped on it, they utilized it, and then with this what's happening here, you basically could set a precedent to then have it where it's like, okay, well, we've utilized this law, so then it's like resistance against ICE coming and doing their thing. You can utilize it to activate the military again, because it's as far as it's setting them policies up for use and then setting a context for it, and then they're justified in using it going forward, which is what a lot of this local domestic would be the term, domestic conflicts happening with ICE, with the police, with the military, talking about these different criminals, saying, oh, there's overseas criminal enterprises working in the US. These things all come together for that. So 2 Esdras 15:14 says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Yeah, it's all gonna come down to raw, legendary conflict. People on people on the street, uppercutting each other, drop kicking each other, snatching nappies and water and foods off each other. Because why? It's gonna go down to that raw, divisive conflict. People are gonna realize like, yo, this is peak. Just as Denmark are realizing, oh, the US ain't really got our best interests at heart. They're all about, well, as far as especially with DJ Trump, it's like this guy's all about his own agenda and desires. It's all coming together where everyone's gonna realize, damn, so our government doesn't care about us. Which is real as fuck. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And that's the thing is, it's funny because on the side of people that are in support of what Trump's doing, in support of this chick having got wigged, and in support of the military expansion of power, because they want the the politics he's behind to be established again in the US. They're they're down with what's going on. They're thinking, well, this is what the reality of how you've got to go. And then the flip side as well is people saying, well, okay, if this is what's happening, then you need to be willing to do old school, like French Revolution level violence, to protect yourself. So it's basically everything escalating to where they're gonna be like, fuck, what they're trying to enforce. And then on the side of the enforcers, they'll be like, fuck these guys' rights. On the side of the people having their rights stripped, they can be like, yo, fuck these enforcers. So full conflict. Said a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Yeah, you're gonna be like leaving, maneuvering, going on holiday, going even crossing city lines and whatnot. It's gonna be locked down. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yo, it's gonna be fucked. It's gonna be fucked. The thing with America as well is the level of weaponry's over there. It's gonna be peak. In fact, you even have like, what is it in GTA, ammunition. Instead of this fucking ammunition, just go there, grab a bunch of guns, and then do a madness. That's what these things are gonna be flared up too. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. And the modern day sword is the gun. And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread for great tribulation. Yeah, that great tribulation, man, that hardship's going to be felt. Because that's why the mark is going to be so enthralling. Because why? The time of trouble, man. Jacob's trouble is going to be immense. And then the whole world's going to be tried. And then what? The lack of bread, man. Soon as man get hungry, it becomes a whole different set of realness that people are engaging with, man. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Shalom, shalom.